From the Life Application Study Bible. Note Jesus' methods of leadership. He empowered his disciples, gave them specific instructions so they knew what to do, told them how to deal with tough times, and held them accountable. As you lead others, study the master leader's pattern. Which of these elements do you need to incorporate into your leadership? Jesus announced his kingdom by both preaching and healing, and he commissioned his disciples to carry on the work. If he had limited himself to preaching, people might have seen his kingdom as spiritual only. If he had healed without preaching, people might not have realized the eternal importance of his mission. Most of his listeners expected a Messiah who would bring freedom, wealth, and power to their nation. They preferred material benefits to spiritual discernment. The truth about Jesus is that he is both God and man, both spiritual and physical, and the salvation that he offers is for both the soul and the body. Any group or teaching that emphasizes the soul at the expense of the body, or the body at the expense of the soul, is in danger of distorting the good news. Why were the disciples instructed to depend on others while they went from town to town preaching the good news? Their purpose was to reach as many people as possible with Jesus' message, and by traveling light, they could move quickly. Their dependence on others had other good effects as well. 1. It clearly showed that the Messiah had not come to offer wealth to his followers. 2. It forced the disciples to rely on God's power and not on their own provision. 3. It involved the villagers who participated and engaged them with the good news at a deeper level. This was an excellent approach for the disciples' short-term mission. It was not intended, however, to be a permanent way of life for them. The disciples were told to stay in only one home in each town because they were not to offend their hosts by moving to different homes that were perhaps more comfortable or socially prominent. To remain in one home was not a burden for the homeowner, because the disciples' stay in each community was relatively short. Shaking the dust of certain towns from their feet had deep cultural implications. Pious Jews would do this after passing through Gentile cities to show their separation from Gentile practices. If the disciples were to shake the dust of a Jewish town from their feet, it would illustrate their separation from Jews who rejected their Messiah. This action also would show that the disciples were not responsible for how the people responded to their message. Neither are we responsible if we have carefully and truthfully presented Jesus, but our message is rejected. Like the disciples, we must move on to others whom God desires to reach. People found accepting Jesus as the Son of God so difficult that they tried to come up with other solutions. Many thought that Jesus must be someone who had come back to life, perhaps John the Baptist or another prophet. Some suggested that he was Elijah, the great prophet who had not died but been taken to heaven in a whirlwind. Very few found the correct answer, as Peter did. Many people today still have difficulty accepting Jesus as the fully human yet fully divine Son of God. People are still trying to find alternate explanations. A great teacher, another prophet, a radical political leader, a self-deceived rabble-rouser. None of these explanations can account for Jesus' miracles, or especially his glorious resurrection. In the end, the attempts to explain away Jesus are far more difficult to believe than the facts presented in Scripture.